Hey guys, Eccentrik and I have been working together to bring you an excerpt from what we think romance novels would be like in a radical feminist world. That is to say, wholly unsexy.
Romance should be about trust and intimacy, but with laws like yes means yes and rape culture hysteria, people are seeing each other more as potential accusers than potential partners.
So consider this our way of demonstrating how unattractive life would be if we implemented these policies. Written by Eccentrik Hat and read by me, 2 girls, 1 cuck.
Justin's footsteps were slow and sensual on the nylon carpet as he followed me back to my room. But don't worry, I had totally given him permission so he wasn't being all stalkery and creepy like most men. He gently closed the door behind us without a word, causing me to trigger for a sec because I'm a little OCD about claustrophobia. "Shall I turn off the lights?" he asked in his deep, throaty voice. My heart was racing, pounding like a drum inside my bosom, but it's cool because my bra muffled it, so I don't think the neighbors would complain this time. I gazed longingly into his soft, chestnut ember eyes with their rich ebony hue, as though they were twin campfires that I was going to get wasted around. As I took a step closer to his tall stature, I could smell the peppermint schnapps we had shamed him into drinking earlier that night. His breathing was heavy, and I could practically see his body's primal mechanics spring to life and send blood to all the places he would need later that night. "Wait," I said as he reached behind him for the light switch. "How will Claire be able to see us then?" He paused. He asked. Even with his expression of foe-like amusement, he is still a perfect 10, I thought in horny anticipation. In fact, maybe he was even hotter while perplexed, because statistically, confused people rape less, and to say otherwise is totally homophobic. "She's my voyeur," I clarified gently. Somehow he even looked more puzzled now. God, I wanted him inside me. "Your voyeur?" he repeated slowly. Wait, has he seriously never heard about voyeurism? I thought. Then I decided to say it too. "Wait, have you seriously never heard of voyeurism?" Eyebrows raised and he innocently shook his head. I imagined I could almost hear the rusty cogs of his male brain clumsily bang together as he attempted to work out what this strange new concept could mean. I sighed a little. It had been a while since I had bedded a voyeur virgin, and I generally try to avoid them because they always get embarrassed during their first time. To be fair, I had been making an effort to avoid cis men altogether. That way I was certain to be safe from molestation because I have never heard of a female rapist. But even then, I had to admit that there was something special about Justin. His wavy blonde hair and muscular thighs, his broad shoulders and high cheekbones, fine enough to grate cheese on them. I had felt my inner cougar purr at the sight of him as he gyrated on the dance floor. And later, when he had told me about his entrepreneurial skills, and I knew that I was being called to the hunt, he is what I need, I thought. He is perfect. He would make for my finest ever one-night stand. "You know, a voyeur," I repeated helpfully. "She's my voyeur." Somehow he still wasn't getting it. Jesus, it was like trying to describe sex to one of my cats. Took a deep breath and explained slowly. "Basically, I obviously need to make sure that you don't rape me, right? So I've told my BFF Claire to watch us throughout the intercourse and stuff to make sure I'm not being, held against my will and then forced to bury your baby or whatever." I smiled at him reassuringly, hoping we could finally get down to some action, and was frustrated to see he still looked uncertain. "Why would I want to rape you?" he asked. I couldn't help myself. I snorted with laughter. "I don't mean it in a bad way," I soothed. "It's just that, you're a man, sweetie. I mean, 1 in 4 people on college campuses are being sexually attacked every minute, so it's not like it's a secret that men are predators." In fact, the other day in class, one dude's lazy eye kept staring at me creepily. I'm not even sure he knew what he was doing. I guess being a perv is just in a man's DNA. That's why our women's group set up these classes, see? I picked up one of the pamphlets I'd been passing around all morning. I straightened up and placed it in his hand. His head mechanically angled itself downward to stare at the large bold letters on the front of the leaflet. "Men, wait! You don't need to rape. Why not try consensual sex instead?" His eyes moved up and down the piece of glossy paper over and over. His brow furrowed a little. Hoping he was starting to understand, I said, see, a lot of people don't even realize when they've been raped because universities don't properly teach people about the topic. Really? He asked as his face turned to look back up at me. Oh, I love it when they're interested to hear more because it just gives me the opportunity to use the speech I practice every day. Basically, the average person thinks rape is about one person forcing themselves upon another without permission and violating them. To most people, it's a crime when the victim actively says no and the perpetrator just completely ignores them, whereby the unspeakably heinous act is about taking away control of one's own body from another human being. He nodded. But the thing is, Justin, our women's group is trying to spread awareness that it's not just the cruel, deliberate stuff that I mentioned. It can also be done by complete accident if neither of you are paying attention. Oh, how so? Like, what do you mean? Well, say for example, there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend and they're watching a film together on the couch. And you know, he thinks that it would be nice to put his arm around her without asking. Well, that's being sexually aggressive, even if he didn't mean to be. Or say they're in bed together and she asks him to kiss her and then he does, but then he pulls back and pauses and then leans in again to kiss her without checking that it's okay. He's now guilty of sexual assault. Oh, God, said Justin. I had no idea. Right? I replied, it's super easy to do and she might not even notice that she just had her autonomy violated. So, how do you protect yourself? He asked. Well, the best solution we've come up with is to ask a friend to watch. So they watch you having sex and they scrutinize it to make sure that he was given consent before each and every single act. Claire agreed to be my voyeur tonight if I pulled, and I'm doing the same for her on Saturday. Speaking of, she'll be expecting me around this time, so I better call her. I moved over to my laptop, lifted the lid, typed in my password, #KillAllMen, and opened up the Skype app. After a few clicks and a brief dialing tone, the image of Claire appeared on the screen. Evening, Mary, she said pleasantly. Hey, you good? I asked. She nodded. Of course, I was starting to think that you weren't going to call, or maybe you'd kicked him out or something, but I've just been sitting here doing my herstory revision. So, what did you bring back to your place? Something tasty, I hope. God knows I could do with a distraction from all these books. Yeah, this is Justin, I replied, gesturing behind me to where he was standing. Claire's eyes drifted over to him. Well there, big boy, she shouted suddenly. I spun around to see what was wrong. Justin was busy unbuttoning his shirt and had made it halfway to revealing his rippling pecs. Did you ask us for permission to strip in front of us, dickhead? Or were you just planning to expose yourself without warning? She scolded. Justin started and began rebuttoning the top as quickly as possible. I thought it would be okay since, you know, we were gonna have sex. I didn't realize I had to ask to be allowed to undress myself. It's okay, I explained. He didn't know. He's a voyeur virgin. Still, answered Claire, not taking her eyes off Justin's partially exposed chest. You better be careful in future. A couple more seconds and I might have had to ring the police. She held up her phone, which already had the numbers 911 dialed into it to emphasize her point. I'm sorry, he answered earnestly. I didn't mean it. Rape is still rape, she said wisely, then turned back to me. How long is this going to take, roughly? I shrugged. Not sure. Yo, Justin, she called. How quick do you jizz? What? He asked, bewildered. How long does it take you to pump? She repeated slowly. I don't, he began. We'll say about 15 minutes, I butted in. Claire raised an eyebrow at me and gave him another look, her eyes moving up and down her own computer screen. You'll be lucky, she scoffed. I straightened up again and hopped into bed before patting the covers next to me for Justin to join. He glanced at the laptop and then climbed onto the duvet himself. How close could I get? He asked, clearly making an effort to think ahead this time. Oh, I don't mind, I smiled encouragingly. Come right over here if you want. He crawled up the sheets and angled his body to lie next to mine. Between the soft glow of the ceiling light, the dim hum of the computer's fan, and Justin's deep breaths, the room seemed so serene. I always enjoyed this moment of tranquility before the animalistic rage of intercourse. Put your condom on, I instructed. I don't have one. I mean, I wasn't planning on meeting anyone tonight, he said. Christ! Sighed Claire, banging her head off her desk. I opened my bedside drawer and pulled out one of the little square packets from the box. I tossed it onto his lap where it landed almost perfectly on his crotch. I usually put that on later, he said. You know, after the kissing and stuff. There was a brief pause and then he said, can I kiss you? May I kiss you? Corrected Claire. May I kiss you? He repeated. I turned to face him and pursed my lips, ready to meet his, but he didn't move. Long kiss, which sent a flurry of sparks showering throughout my body. I could feel my face beginning to glow red with the heat of the moment, and waves of desire washed over me like the sea swallowing pointed. But, I only asked permission to do it once, he explained. Oh, right. I looked around the computer where Claire was frowning in what seemed like apparent begrudging approval. Yes, you may kiss me again, I repeated. But he remained where he was. I was actually wondering, he began timidly, glancing at Claire as he did so. I was wondering if I could, maybe touch her breasts instead. This surprised me, I admit, but after thinking about it for a second, I decided I was more than willing to let him. After all, if he was anywhere near as good at copping a feel as he was at kissing, then I was in for a treat. Sure, I said, and pushed my arms into my sides a little to increase the size of my chest. After slight hesitation, he reached out and began to caress my boobs. But rather than the sensual, delicate touch of a master jewel thief that I've been hoping for, he sort of patted them clumsily like a man reaching for his glasses in the dark. I watched his hand move over them and wondered what the hell was he doing? Was he really this bad? I didn't think you could be this bad at fondling. I put it down to nerves and decided to change the subject. So tell me about the wine company that you and your brother own again? We haven't really started it up yet. What? I asked. I thought you said that you and your brother were business owners. Well, we are technically. We've copyrighted the name we want to go by and bought business cards and everything, but right now it's just a dream, really. We love to talk about it, and we'd definitely do it if we won the lottery or something, but I would never be able to afford it in my current salary. What? I said again, sitting up straight. Justin took his hands off me and looked at me confused. I thought you said that you moved thousands of crates a year, I asked. I do. In my job as a forklift driver. I stared at him in shock. What the fuck, Justin? I thought you'd buy me drinks and took you back to my apartment, and now you tell me that you've been lying to me all night? I didn't lie, he protested. I let you touch my boobs, I shrieked. I don't understand what's wrong, he said. Claire was the one to answer this time. You let her on, Justin. You gave her false impressions so that she would like you more. That's rape by omission. But I didn't mean to admit anything, he said, starting to actually panic now. I told you the truth. You left a couple of important details out though, didn't you? I yelled, getting off the bed. You should have been more upfront with me from the beginning. I'm sorry. Not yet, you're not, answered Claire. I pointed at the door. Get the hell out of my house, now! Justin didn't need telling twice. He scrambled off the bed and ran for the door. He almost tripped over two of my cats sitting in the hallway, and they hissed at him angrily. I heard his large feet thump all the way through the apartment and then the front door slam. I so didn't want to get molested tonight, I sighed. I keep telling you that you should become a lesbian. Girls are never rapists. I looked up at the laptop. I want to, but I just can't find any trans women who are not already in relationships. You sure you won't even consider cis women instead? I shook my head. Pity. Still, I better get going. I have more herstory stuff to cover before tomorrow. You want me to phone and report your rape before I go? Nah, I said lying back down. I'll do it myself tomorrow. Okay, well make sure you don't forget because he'll probably try raping someone else if you don't get him arrested quickly. I know. Night, Mary, Claire said, waving as she clicked her mouse. Exhausted, I rolled over onto my side and gloomily wondered if there were any good men left out there at all.